All right, everyone, the mayor of Olympia is nuts, and much like many other mayors and governors right now applauding rioters, she continues to call groups of rioters in Olympia that, vandalized her home protesters. Again, we've got to make a differentiation here because this is linguistic warfare. This is essentially propaganda. When you persistently mislabel something in order to either deride it or promote it, in order to prevent people... think about the term protesters. Protesting is enshrined within the U.S. Constitution. It's a civic activity and a very positive one. But protesting requires assembly, organization at some capacity, and it requires nonviolence. It can be civilly disobedient. That's a form of protest. You're letting yourself get arrested in order to try to prevent an unjust law from being perpetuated. You're opposing discrimination by standing against it, knowing you could get in trouble. But you're not throwing rocks at people. You're not shooting people. You're not blowing things up. You're not victimizing anyone. You're standing on principle and simply offering yourself up as a short-term martyr in order to promote a cause. Or to attack a cause, depending on what's happening. Groups of people throwing bricks through the Wendy's window and looting local businesses and burning down Target are not protesters. Those are not protests, they are riots. They are also illegal. They're not enshrined under the Constitution. They're not protected by the First Amendment. The right to assembly does not include the right to victimize other people. People get it wrong with speech too. They think that shouting other people down is a form of speech. No, it's not. It's a victimization of another person's speech with a bunch of nonsensical gobbledygook that you simply yell loudly and chant over and over. It's not protected under the First Amendment. It's not a form of speech at all. You're not even trying to make yourself heard. You're simply trying to make someone else not heard. The same is true with assembly. These are riots. Vandalism is not a form of legitimate protest. Now, you could say that someone's painted a street mural for Black Lives Matter. Okay, that's a little bit of a gray area. Because they might be able to argue explicitly they're not specifically damaging property at all. It's sort of like, using chalk on a sidewalk. We don't charge kids with vandalism for that. Depending on what they draw, actually, there have been cases where that happened. There was one case where some teenager, I think, drew with chalk. They drew a swastika or something on the pavement. They got charged with a hate crime and thrown in jail. Now, of course, I oppose that. I think it's like fucking just wash it away, dude. It's chalk. It's not vandalism, and it's certainly not a hate crime. It's somebody... Who cares? Maybe they're Hindu. They should have just claimed that it was for Ganesha. They were drawing it there for good luck. Yeah, good luck fighting that, litigating that in court, and then trampling on their First Amendment right to be a Hindu, I suppose, or a Buddhist or whatever. Anyway, I keep seeing this over and over, and it's even funnier. The reason why this is particularly newsworthy, it's sort of like when that CNN crew got attacked, yet they still say, oh, these protesters are getting awfully angry at us. They're throwing rocks through windows and burning a business to the ground. These protesters are angry. Or that time that the CNN news crew was openly attacked there, what was it, in Atlanta days before, oh, these protesters have taken the news camera. Now you've got this sort of thing going on. You've got an instance in which the person who supposedly represents the interests of the constituents there in Olympia has her own fucking home vandalized and still won't call it what it is. Vandalism. These people are vandals, arsonists, looters, and thugs. They're criminal miscreants. They're not protesting anything. They don't even know who George Floyd is. They don't care about police brutality. These people need to get a fucking clue. These people also don't care if you virtue signal for them. They'll still knock your block off if they get the chance. It's like that dude in New Mexico who was sort of like, I guess he was yelling at the people that were trying to pull down a statue. Now, I would think that would be his right. It's not a violent act to yell at someone. And he's concealed carrying, of course. They start attacking him, yelling that they're going to kill him. One whips out a knife, one hits him with a skateboard. He's backing away because the idea of turning your back to people openly proclaiming they're going to kill you and holding weapons is usually a bad idea. He opens fire, shoots one of them, and I think the person's not dead. He's getting charged. He's getting charged with, what is it, attempted manslaughter or something like that. Which is fucking ridiculous. It's called self-defense, and people ought to start fucking using it at some point. And at some point, I guarantee they're going to do that. And then the legacy media all of a sudden is going to talk about terrorism and gun violence, extremism. It's so extreme for people whose community has been repeatedly vandalized and looted for weeks on fucking end for absolutely no reason, while the cops stand by and with their thumbs up their ass because the mayor won't let them act. It's so extreme when they finally say, you know what, I'm going to guard my property, I'm going to guard my life, and I'm tired of this bullshit. These people, they pay for a police force that isn't policing. They pay for roads that are being damaged. They pay for all of these different things that are being ripped apart by a group of thugs, and their politicians won't even call them what they fucking are. Thankfully, in most places, the rioting has died down. There's still some attacks and vandalism going on. A group of hooligans decide to go and attack a Thomas Jefferson statue because he owned slaves. By the way, he probably had a bunch of children by at least one of his slaves. That's not actually untrue. But at the same time, I don't see them toppling statues of Muhammad. Or Karl Marx, who was a virulent bigot. They're not attacking his statues. I wonder why. Karl Marx totally left alone in Seattle. The little Karl Marx statue, it's like practically treasonous that they have it there. I don't even want those statues to come down. I think they should just put a plaque next to it that says this dude was a fucking murderer, a fucking junkie, a total fucking racist, and people that adulate him are goddamn morons. Don't tear statues down. Fight a statue with a statue. It's sort of like when they have the courtrooms there and everyone's up in arms about the Ten Commandments monument. Just put up your own fucking monuments. Have a statue of Charles Darwin there for the atheists. Perfectly fine. Have a Ganesha statue. Have the Satan statue. Like the Satanists there have their Lucifer statue. I think it's great. Yeah, put them all on display. Who cares? You know? Create something. If all you can do is destroy, then you're just a fucking moron anyway. Now, Cuck mayor there. The protesters that vandalized my home, did they even know it was the mayor's house? Probably did. That's the funny part. She says, oh yeah, we were scared. Someone tried to break in the window. But they're protesters, ma'am. You're not allowed to be scared. It's a break-in of peace. It's vandalism of tolerance and diversity. Don't you fucking understand? You fucking bigot? That's about all. Peace out.